We're going to start the session dedicated to Proptech startups, and we're going to speak about the development coming after the BMP. This real estate sector is being radically and disruptively impacted by technology. Technological information is transforming the whole value chain. The way the clients identify financing, we have seen different startups that are providing solutions for financing in the purchasing process. We have seen the logic of spaces and co-working, co-housing, asset using models. We have seen how logistics have incorporated into real estate to become intermediate points, such as mayordomo. We are seeing how information technologies are transforming absolutely everything. What do we know about them in universities? Jerry Engels would say, Joseph, this is about open innovation. What are you talking about? Hay que escuchar a las startups. Because startups are the mechanism in our ecosystem to be able to identify what's next. We already know. Big corporations cannot radically innovate, not because we don't want to, but because our organizational structure doesn't allow a CEO to say, oh, listen, maybe my initiative will fail. The CEO is not coming back to the board. He's committing sort of harakiri, so to speak. What's happening here? We have two big worlds to connect. On the one hand, big corporations are opening their doors to innovation. They know that innovation can be found in startups, so we can say that the 1,000 startups that we analyzed to be able to organize a symposium, this PropTech vertical, has been done throughout the world. They have shed light about how technology is transforming services. This has been useful so that we can self-diagnose ourselves to know where we are in the value chain and how we can transform throughout technology in terms of financing, monitoring, and makes us delve deep. On Monday, I was helping a student with his thesis at La Salle. He got honors, and he was analyzing the Sabadell Bank in his dissertation. What did Sabadell do? Open its doors to innovation by creating a venture builder incorporated to Sabadell's strategy. It is modelizing the way it absorbs startup innovation to incorporate it in the corporation. So this is good news for corporations. We have innovations for them. What's the challenge? The world is its department of innovation. Unfortunately, your competition has the same R+D department. I'm not speaking about 2 ecosystems. I'm speaking about 400 ecosystems throughout the world. I can assure you that innovation doesn't go from the first world to third world. It's about pilots and high scalability mechanisms. This is when we can look at startups and say, ladies and gentlemen, you are the source of innovation of corporations. This isn't about a small company competing with corporations. You are the source of innovation. You must prepare a model that validates the pilot, the middle model, the organizing structure, thus being prepared to be absorbed. This almost illogical logic means that we were wrong. We believed the startups was a small dimension of a big corporation. And I say no, no, and no in a positive way. The startups are actually the mechanism that we have to validate the way of scaling up a business model. In the 15 years that we have been working in La Salle, 3 out of 300 startups, 600 startups isn't really a number. Startups need to think about their exit plan. They need to think about the day in which you leave the startup. I'm telling you to leave the startup because otherwise we don't understand that the startup needs to go through a customer validation, needs to validate the market need that it's covering. And then what happens? We need bridges. What kind of bridges? Intelligent, smart financing. Without venture capital, we cannot follow this path because this change is accelerated. We have 2 years to build a startup, build a vertical, thinking about a world logic. Otherwise, a corporation won't buy you. Because if it's only useful for Barcelona and Spain, then great. We can open a lifestyle company. But if you want to validate a scalable model worldwide, you need to start the prototype idea. So you need to validate the first product with the first client value proposal, then market traction to see whether it's scalable, but then predictive scaling up. So scalability. We have to think how to invite our startups to validate their business model in Mexico or other countries. Where does this lead us? Why am I being so explicit about the innovation ecosystem process? Without acceleration programs, this isn't possible. It's very hard for a startup to talk to a large company and say, I want to talk to you, but who are you? What are you doing here? We need means and spaces where this connection is possible. This is where BMP, and I'd like to show how the consortium betted on creating the symposium and also the post-symposium, which is an acceleration, useful for, number one, understanding what's your exit plan and market. So we are directly incorporating the immediate meeting with large corporations. This is your venture user, and then later on, you can work on that to then be absorbed, but we're also working on financing strategies. Who is going to be your business angel, your venture capital? It's not about putting 10,000 or 500 euros in your startup. Are you opening your context chain? Are you embedding a technological or financial outlook so that the first investor that isn't directly known starts to add value and price to the startup? An external investor is very important because they add value. And this starts to create a pre and post money value. And then what happens? Venture capital starts coming in. We don't have that without a previous business angel. We need someone independent to add value to the company. In Barcelona, we're doing really well in the logic of capital risk and Banc Sabadell, etc. They're putting 1 million euros on the table. It's not a money problem. It's a problem of money for what? It's 1 million euros that will have to be given back with interest rates. So this strategy is critical. Market strategy is critical. The team strategy is critical. We have learned so much, and so much why? Because we see that there are experts in Silicon Valley that make grow and then sell.
So being an entrepreneur is a profession. It's not something you just want to do. You know how to create value, and at some point in time the team needs to evolve. And the founding team, which is led by a wonderful technologist who really masters big data, needs to step aside and say, we need a different CEO, or we need a CFO, or someone from sales. And there we see how important this acceleration process is, connecting with talent, technology, financing, and an acceleration of the startup. This is what we're doing with our acceleration program, led by Josep Jorge Carmen Adan and the team from La Salle. And now we would like to see what these startups have lived through these processes, how they have changed, how they have thought about this element. These entrepreneurs, some of them are serial entrepreneurs, which means they're serious, and others were validated. So it's not whether the product is working or not. Acceleration is about accelerating scalability. So I'm going to ask Josep Jorge to moderate this panel, and also Tomás Obrets, CEO of Nested, Miquel Manzana, CEO and PropCrowd, Lucas Galan from Nainer, and Jorge Valero from Dinsa. These last two are the other side, the corporations. So in this model you're going to have startups and corporations. I have to say that Nainer is new to these. They've been very interested for days in listening to startups. Giuseppe, the floor is yours. So please come with me. We're going to sit here in our panel. This past few days you've seen me back there, but now it's my turn to be here. Could you please show the slide so that we can see where we are located? We want you to know who we are. Yeah, we got it right. Thank you, Josep Miquel. As he has explained, the acceleration program is an instrument, but a real one, not a theoretical one, on how to establish a link between startups and the corporate world, and how we establish a dialogue between these two elements. Today, in line with the program of this conference, we have two startups and two big corporations. Each of them is going to introduce himself, and we're going to speak about what we do in one of the acceleration program sessions. So, Miki, you're going to start. You can introduce yourself. Good morning. My name is Miquel Manzanas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of two startups. The first one we launched is Highest, which is not here. It's a vacational rental platform. And we had a spin-off, which is PropCrowd, real estate crowd. Some people got together to make investments in real estate. Good morning. My name is Tomás Obrets. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Nested. It's a marketplace for a rental of flexible offices. We combine the supply from professionals and co-working and other offers, but also we have companies with underused office spaces. It's a collaborative model. So after a launch 2 years ago, we are consolidated in Madrid and Barcelona, and our goal next year is to expand to Lisbon and Milan. My name is Jorge Valero. I'm the manager of Tinsa Digital, which belongs to Tinsa, which is the biggest independent appraisal company in the world. We had at some point in time we said, what do we do with so so much data that we buy as startups. So we decided to create it ourselves with very good people. It was an internal startup in our group, and I'm in charge of it. We belong to a private equity, which is different from venture capital and business angels you've mentioned before. And I think that this discussion is going to be very interesting in order to be grounded, to see how we see the innovation from the inside, information that's outside, and how you can incorporate that to a company with a history. You cannot just erase that. My name is Lucas Galam. I'm Product and Innovation Manager of Neynor, a residential developer from Spain. I'm in charge of innovation in our company and the open innovation ecosystem. I would like to thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Jose and BMP. Thank you. The working meetings we have in our program establish a contact and a context for the startups selected that are here in the Innovation Hub space. We have Proud and Nested took part in it last year, and for 6 months we provide them with different training sessions and opportunities. Today you're seeing an example of what we do in our corporate workshops. It's a space in which we invite one consolidated company. We invited Neynor, we invited Tensa Digital, so that they could share challenges and opportunities with all the startups in our program. What happens usually? We don't know each other. As Josep Miguel has said before, startups need to make a huge effort to introduce themselves to traditional companies. And when they do that, they're already trying to sell their services. In our workshop sessions, we remove these obstacles. And in this process we're developing in Barcelona Meeting Point, this is evident. There are other corporations which have started similar processes. That's why I would like to ask Lucas about your experience in-house, how you've developed this model to establish a relationship in order to grow, to collaborate with external startups. How has it changed over the past year? Well, for a while, we had known that our model was open innovation. This is collaboration and being open to different agents in the ecosystem. And in the ecosystems, there are more than just startups. There's the public administration, there are accelerators, incubators, investors, there are technology hubs. And this whole ecosystem, it's better to collaborate. And open innovation, this word was coined by Chesver in a book called Open Innovation, where he explains it. The model in cooperation shifts from closed to open. And there are some factors in companies, educational, economic, social, etc. The companies in Silicon Valley realized that it didn't make sense to have closed innovation centers. It was more effective and efficient and fast to establish a collaboration among all the stakeholders in order to innovate. And open innovation was born like that. We had a clear idea by the format, and we created a strategy with 3 lines: short, mid, and long term. Short term, I'm not going to go into detail here because this is our daily work in our company. We innovate a little bit every day in order to make things better. The big corporations are good at that. Then we have a second level, mid-term, which is more disruptive, riskier, of course. Not with very disruptive models, business models or technology. It was something that you can implement and take to market in the short term, 1 year maybe. We tackle it with entrepreneurship, within our lab. We work with our company staff. We think this is an important asset. Our own employees are the ones who know the company, and they can make great contributions. And then we have a last layer in our strategy, which is the most disruptive one, and it's in the long term. It has to do with areas in which corporations are not comfortable, new technologies, new business model, disruption, and companies are reluctant to take risks. So the perfect ally for us were startups. Startups are very comfortable in that area of disruption and risk. And in that cultural change, when you included these new methodologies, what does work and what doesn't work? What's your idea about this? Jorge Dinsa, or the ecosystem of big corporations? What's working and what's not working in this, with regards to this theory of your relationship with startups? First of all, I believe in startups, but I also believe in startups being landed. The stratosphere is hard to justify in the long term because it entails a huge expense, and depending on who's paying for it, you're willing to risk your money on other people's money. And I think Lucas was right when he mentioned internal knowledge. For me, it's the best ally when it comes to change the direction of a company. We started back in 1985, and 10 years ago, people used to work with paper and pen. And changing the way 10,000 people work is extremely difficult. You have to do it from the inside because people have the knowledge, but you need people from outside, have nothing to do with your business, nothing, so that they provide you with fresh ideas. How did you manage to do that? For us, our CEO was the founder of Rumbo, who has nothing to do with real estate. He also worked in the travel industry, and he took the way they work in other areas, which is easy to adapt to real estate, but you need someone from the outside to explain it to you because you're so focused on your daily work. And you need people to devote hours to think, but for that you need time. So at the beginning, sometimes the CEO has to step aside. In our case, the private equity decided that we needed a completely different CEO from the business world, not from the real estate world. It was good, but he had fresh ideas, not just a spreadsheet saying you need to save 3 million euro. So that was important. In fact, in our acceleration program, what we tried to have is to have some sort of predisposition, perhaps due to the company culture or a development. But which is the usual environment, Tommaso, that you find when you go talk to a real estate company to introduce your services or your proposal? How do they take it? What obstacles do you find? I think we need to turn it around, starting with your acceleration process, which tackles this issue. The ability to sit together with professional and informal way when we're not trying to sell, we get to know the real needs and we can have direct access. I may be able to talk to Lucas or Jorge, but maybe they say that I'm not the right person, you need to talk to this other department. And I think that this, both for the corporations and the startups, saves time, because we have a common interest, we want to collaborate, and we can access the person which is the right person to talk to, and this saves time. And this allows us to establish mutually beneficial relationships and save time. Because perhaps if I wanted to talk to Lucas, I would need to find someone to introduce me to him. Then I need a meeting. When you go to a meeting, you're already trying to sell, and perhaps they're not interested. So I think both parties save time, and it allows more fruitful relationships for both sides. B2B, these are B2B startups, their customer, their providers may be real estate corporations. But in the case of B2C proposals such as PropCrowd, in our corporate workshops, you're not looking for a provider or a customer. You're talking to your competitors face to face. Which are the competitive advantages that as a startup you have with regards to the traditional ecosystem, and which are the difficulties in order to take part of their market share from them? Our cases are very particular because in both startups we had business angels, venture capital, and we have experience with corporate investors such as Fincas Forcadell, which is a 60-year-old real estate company, and their pros and cons. A startup with a disruptive model does not have the trust of a B2C customer. You're proposing value, it's disruptive, it's new, so you need to gain the customer's trust. Brands such as Forcadell, which is a long-standing company, have this trust. So being able to use that name helps us to remove these obstacles in order to gain the trust of our users. They are the customers you need, because startups may be as disruptive as you want, but we need metrics, we need to sell. Maybe we can still receive funding from venture capital or business angels, but we need to grow. And with Forcadell, our experience was very positive, not because of the brand and the trust. It's because they know the real estate market. Our startups are a bit different. They started in Dubai, they were launched there, then they came to Barcelona, and the main obstacle here was that we were not familiar with Barcelona's real estate market. We knew about startups, about technologies, but for a Proptech startup, you need to develop something in the real estate market. So working together with Forcadell, they were seeing that the market was changing very quickly. They had an internal innovation team, but they had decided to carry out corporate venturing activities and helping startups. It was very important for us with legal knowledge, marketing tools, support. Theory, it sounds good on paper, but then when you have your real life every day, we are very quick for them. So that's a point. We're not going to focus in any company or situation. Where are the issues, the problems, the resistance in order to grow? We've started to experiment the corporate venturing world, internal innovation, external collaboration. But where are the problems? How can we overcome them? In my experience, there are two different entities, it's like water and oil. There are many definitions for startups, metrics, etc. But for me, basically a corporation, a company, executes a known business model. As a developer, what I do on a daily basis is something I know it's profitable, and I'm perfectly familiar. Company that's validating a business model, they don't know if it's profitable or not. That's the main difference I would put on the table. You may say I'm wrong, there are lots of metrics, etc. But startups usually validate a business model. So based on this difference, one of the main points I've identified myself is that corporates speak corporate and Russian. The main difference is that they speak a different language. And there's no connection there, there's no communication. A company thinks in a very different way if you compare it to a startup. So they don't bind at the beginning. So you need to foster language course, so to speak. So on the one hand, corporations need to learn how to speak to startups, and startups need to learn how to talk to corporations. That's the first problem you encounter. I'm going to give you an example because I think it's important. We've tried to have an intense relationship with startups, but then you realize that this language problem you've mentioned is bigger than it looks like. We received a proposal, why don't you change your business model in Spain and even outside Spain? And you stop charging for appraisals in order to capture data. And we said, yes, but I'm already doing that and I'm receiving money. And they said, no, but you will get more this way. No, but I'm already doing it and I'm obtaining more money. So that's the language. What's your goal? Capturing data? That's great, but not many people make money out of it. In your particular case, you've just launched a tool which is a completely disruptive tool that carries out appraisals online with appraisal data. There's nothing like that. It's like Netflix. You try it for free, and based on your number of appraisals, you pay a particular fee, which can be higher or lower. We've tried to do something which is supplementary, that adds something to our business. A corporation is looking for something else in a startup, something that supplements the company. This supplements things in España, and it's scalable. That's what do you expect from a startup? It's not valid if it's just in Spain. You need it to be in Mexico and Dubai. Collaboration between business lines. Is it a risk? Is there a risk of someone copying your innovative proposal? If you're talking to a corporation and you don't know if this business is supplementary or not, or it can be absorbed by the corporation. When you talk to agencies that market traditional spaces, how do you see platforms such as Nested? A collaborator or a competitor? In our case, it's always been considered supplementary. Of course, there are other players that have been able to develop a similar product, but these are choices made by the corporation. In my opinion, I think the opportunity to work with a corporation is clear for a startup, because it provides you with knowledge of the market that a startup can hardly have, and you can validate your model much faster. And I think that this way forward is fruitful for both parties. There are nuances. Each case is different, but in principle, it is a good opportunity for a startup because they provide an exit to the market. And then you can get funds, which does not necessarily come from the corporation. This is an important part in the relationship between the corporation and the startup. And then when you have the financing, you can create a sort of a triangle. When I have my startup validated with the corporation, and then I can have a financial institution, this model is even more powerful. A financial institution, when they have the support of a big corporation that have helped validating the model that's outside in the market, it's a lower risk for a financial institution. I think that this relationship would work better as a triangle. So let's say that you launch an innovating proposal with a technological base, you use the support of corporations to validate your business model. How do you grow up? Miguel, how do we grow up? Well, in order to grow, you need to separate from the corporation. You need to learn to see what you can obtain. Venture capital has purely economical profits. They just want metrics, but they let you do whatever you want to do. And a corporation pays attention to what you're doing on a daily basis. And we startups sometimes need to take brave decisions with blind eyes, because if you want to be disruptive, you can't pay attention to what others are doing. And the way what we do is taking decisions and being riskier. Need more independence so that you can grow faster compared to Lucas. Is corporate culture willing to assume this? So you validate a business model, you sort of allocate a quality brand to a startup, then they can grow into a competitor. The way we understand it, yes, I think it's easy to understand. But is the market willing to understand it? I'm going to explain my experience. This is a real case. I may invest in a startup, okay, as a corporation. And as a corporation, my ultimate goal is not just financial, because a venture capital is just investing because there's going to be a return. As a company, and of course I'm thinking about financial return, but something else, it's CSR. And in this sense, I may invest in a company, but that company's business model is not going to be scaled if they don't sell to my competitors. So I need to keep outside the decision-making bodies of that company. I will never request a place in the board of directors of that company, because that would block that startup to my competitors. Because if you're managing the company, you're going to have information on my company. So what I would do is keeping myself outside the control of the company. And if the startup scales, that would be great, because I've invested and my investment will have more value. I would help them to have more contacts. I'm going to introduce them to my competitors, but I'll do everything so that my position in the startup does not compromise the business strategy.
In the Tinza case, the fear that startups have of being copied, and they don't want to work or to explain things to the corporate world too much. How can we solve this issue? So I'm going to turn this around and say, what does a startup offer to me as a corporate person? We have a company called Data Century, the first or the second largest data company in Spain, not a real estate company. The questions that we usually ask is, I buy 100% and you just go away. I mean, we do like them, but are you willing to leave your business? And this is very important. The problem of a startup that's starting up, actually, is that it's very anchored to its founders. If you buy a startup, if what the startup did in a year, I would take 3 years to do it. If you stop me or you curtail me, I don't really want you. Will you be willing tomorrow to leave your startup in return for a check? If you don't, then we want you to be on the board of directors. not only of the startup, but of all the rest that we wish to integrate. This is easily understood, but when you're in a meeting with CEOs, investors, CFOs, and people throughout the world, it's very complicated to show this because they do make snap decisions. And hard decisions. Yes, I agree 100%. This is a real case. The joint venture agreement that we are discussing right now. And people have asked this of me, looking out towards the future. You need to think about the good of your startup and not about your ego. There is a moment in which it would be good to launch the startup on the market or take hard-based decisions, but there may be a consolidation phase, a different phase, in which surely there's a CEO that will do a better job than you. I'm not speaking about better or worse. It's more about the customization of the company. Yes, but there's also lots of ego within the founder. The founder must be aware that someone may be able to do a better job than them. Think about Google. The two founders weren't CEOs after 2 or 3 years. Look where they went. Yes, in that same line, the goal must be sell and just go away? You mean for a corporate? No, for the founder. Maybe not. They could include you in a bigger group or a bigger startup that's growing. This could be a solution. You have more capital, more countries. It's true that for an entrepreneur, the startup is your baby. Sometimes it's hard to let it go. Concerning the fear of explaining the idea, right now I am assessing entrepreneurs and they mirror this fear. This is too bad because when you explain your idea and your business model, you always find people that adds new ideas to you or helps you in networking. So this is useful before you launch your model. Unfortunately, there are accelerators popping up in Barcelona and Spain that dedicate themselves to ideas with CEOs. So people introduce their ideas that may be really good, and these groups just take these ideas. They look for CEOs that give them 5 or 10% profit, and they launch the ideas. This is bad because, as we were saying, an entrepreneur dreamt about the idea, developed it, asked for 10,000 euros to his father. And there's no CEO that could create this idea in quite the same way. Tommaso? Yes, I wanted to add something concerning the fear of sharing your idea. I think the idea is relatively important, but 90% concerns running it. Without that, you have nothing. So the idea has a relative value. Yes, the session you saw as examples have to do with sharing. We share in the sessions within the program to create depth, which allows us to increase and improve the business, the startups, and the ability of the corporations to do business. I would like to thank you for participating in the previous edition of this session. We will continue to help you know that we are lining up the new edition of this session. You are invited to participate so that we can share the experience and the value proposals of the startup selection this year. And I would like to thank you again. Thank you for your trust and the support that you have granted us during this time. Thank you very much. Great. This panel has been really interesting. It's an interesting way of seeing how Engel's theory and can be actually put into action. We're in the final phase of this morning. We are going to try to identify the best startup this year. Tuesday night, and the gala dinner that we had at the Chamber of Commerce, we gave the Skylab Award to the startup that has most grown, and Mayordomo earned it. This initiative was really interesting. It's not only a real estate one, but a very competent logistics. So now we're starting the process of the runner-ups. I'll remind you that this is a BMP and La Salle process. We first scope them up. We observe which startups are innovating in the sector. And then we do some scouting. We select and identify over 1. This allows us to see the roads to innovation, tokenization, co-working, financing, etc. Afterwards, we receive proposals, and you're actually the 5 runners up. But, of course, the whole process needs the whole, and the winner is. It's already an award to be here. You are at the Real Estate Oscars. Now we must discover the real winner. But you can already feel like winners just because you're here. I'm going to ask the startups that for 5 minutes, they explain why they deserve to win the award, the Proptech Award this year. So I'm going to give the floor to each and every one of you so that you can convince the jury and the audience why you deserve to be the winners. You have investors, corporations, and the jury to listen to your defense. I'm going to invite the first startup, Joanin Daburo. He is the CEO of Bipkai Spain. The floor is yours. You have 5 minutes. I'll control you with a timer. Good morning. I'm Joan. I'm a millennial. I started at DeepKey 2 years ago due to a number, 30. We are 30 years old, according to the last GIEC report, which is the Intercontinental Experts on Climate Change, to get towards a decarbonated economy. This is better. In real estate, we must be engaged. And why? Because 40% of the energy consumed throughout the whole world comes from real estate. In big data, the problem here is that even though it may be really interesting, 95% of real estate is already built. So it is harder to implement these new methodologies. Experts say that this real estate companies have a lot of data available to them. Spreadsheet data, utilities data, IoT, ERP data. And there's so much left to do. We cannot manage this because data is still on paper. We need a more digital mind to be able to establish connections between paper and processes. At Deepge, we want to help companies to change their strategies. We are the crossroads here of Proptech, clean tech, and consulting, as well as business intelligence. They have with the digital and green values of the assets. We work with 150 clients, world clients such as Generali, AXA, BNP, ICANN. What we do at the real estate sector is three things: making assets more attractive, by providing a global outlook as to what's in my asset portfolio, such as carbon disclosure projects, and then we optimize these assets, what they pay in energy, cleanliness, upkeep, and then we will engage with the law. We see that big leaders are taking a leap towards more sustainable assets and invest in them. Here's the platform. We have existed for 5 years. We have managed to get 150 clients. We double our earnings and staff every year. We have 86 people working for us in 3 countries, and we're opening in 2 more. And we monitor many thousand buildings. We are expanding in Spain. If you wish to know more about what we do, you can visit our stand. We are present at the Innovation Hub. We also think that the next 5 years in the real estate market are very important. We will see many new things. We are here to contribute. Thank you. Congratulations, it's very interesting. So you're engaged with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations and how this will show itself in the real estate sector. Now we go to the second startup, Markwich. ¿Lo estoy pronunciando bien? Bosch. Bosch. Como Jared Bosch. No, ¿qué va? Tiene usted la palabra. Good morning, Barcelona. Soy Marc, de Israel. Construimos software para automatizar las transacciones inmobiliarias. El negocio inmobiliario ha cambiado, como hemos visto, lo vemos en Ámsterdam, en Países Bajos, en Alemania. Hace 2 décadas, la inmobiliaria se vinculaba a los edificios, a las piedras, pero hoy en día tiene que ver con las personas en el edificio, sobre las comunidades que quieres en el edificio. Quieres construir comunidades. El edificio inmobiliario no es tan importante. ¿Cómo conseguimos clientes felices y comunidades perfectas? Esa es la pregunta que nos planteamos hoy en día. Tiene que ver con la relación con los candidatos y los intermediarios. Tiene que ver con conclusiones. Queréis monitorizar cómo se construyen las relaciones. Si usáis estos datos de la manera apropiada, vemos que se puede construir la perfecta comunidad en vuestro edificio. Tiene que ver con la experiencia del usuario. Es nuestro trabajo llegar a entender las transacciones inmobiliarias y eso lo hacemos con nuestro software monitorizando el proceso como un todo. Podéis ver cómo habla un candidato a vuestro intermediario. Podéis adaptaros inmediatamente, aseguraros de los puntos en que un candidato no se siente feliz. Entonces podéis gestionar esto para mejorar la experiencia. Podéis adaptar el proceso. Nuestra solución, cambia todo. Claro, automatizamos lo que es obvio. Hay muchas partes que las personas no quieren hacer en ese proceso, entonces automatizamos todo. Hacemos un alto porcentaje de automatización. Mejora la experiencia. Los candidatos y los usuarios están más satisfechos. Es muy importante que a las personas les guste usar el software. Claro que respetamos los GDPRs y podemos optimizar el retorno de inversión. Por último, pero no menos importante, reducimos las emisiones de dióxido de carbono. Las personas no necesitan viajar, todo está online. Unificamos las plataformas para los clientes para cambiar los hábitos cotidianos de las personas. Tenemos un workflow perfecto para los profesionales de la inmobiliaria. Por otro lado, tenemos una experiencia de usuario perfecta para los candidatos. Ellos saben dónde están, dónde se encuentran. No necesitan esperar llamadas para confirmar las cosas. Estamos preparados para el futuro con nuestro sistema. La seguridad es muy importante, el GDPR es muy importante. Esto es una cuestión importante en nuestra plataforma. Tenemos creatividad. Tenemos conectividad. Nos centramos en una pequeña parte del proceso entero. Necesitamos tener conexiones con otros sistemas. Vais a tener conclusiones inteligentes. Os va a impresionar cómo las personas piensan en el proceso. Y esto ya es una mejoría. También trabajamos con Amazon en Frankfurt. Estamos disponibles alrededor del mundo, aunque estemos en los Países Bajos. Yo estaré feliz de enseñaros nuestro software. Estamos integrados con todos los tipos de sistemas y aplicaciones. Os conectamos con cualquier aplicación con la que queráis trabajar dentro de nuestro ecosistema. En 2012 empezamos en los Países Bajos. Hemos adquirido más de 150 proyectos. Nos hemos conectado con 20 grandes asociados y partners. Muy bien. Vamos al tercer ponente, el tercera startup, Julien Pallier, de Taisk. Muchas gracias, Julien. Voy a hablar en inglés, aunque es verdad que hace un rato que vivo en Barcelona y soy francés, lo veis por mi acento. Me parece bien que seamos internacionales. Básicamente soy el fundador de Desk. ¿Podemos ver las diapositivas? Eso es parte de la tecnología, pero bueno, a veces hay algunos errores. Os voy a plantear una pregunta. ¿Quién conoce WeWork? Es un tema importante. No os voy a dar mi opinión sobre cómo están empeorando, pero me parece que tenemos que agradecerles porque han hecho algo increíble para la industria en general, no solamente la inmobiliaria, pero para todos nosotros como profesionales. Entienden que nosotros no tenemos que trabajar en ciertos sitios. Todos podemos tener acceso a entornos modernos y guays que podemos trabajar de formas diferentes. ¿Qué hicieron? Nos han ayudado a entender que la forma en que estamos trabajando está cambiando. Ahora podemos hacer yoga, practicar yoga en nuestra oficina. A veces podemos echarnos una siesta. Nosotros teníamos una sala de siesta en mi empresa. También puede haber tormenta de ideas en la cafetería. Aquí veis unas cafeterías en que las personas trabajan. Y también podéis trabajar remotamente desde casa. Y así podéis ser más ecológicos. Es un cambio tan grande que ha tenido un impacto no simplemente en el sector inmobiliario, pero en muchos otros sectores. Accor ha hecho un joint venture y todos sus lobbies de sus hoteles van a ser transformados en espacios de trabajo. Y el Work Café ha sido un proyecto del Banco Santander para que sus agencias se transformen en espacios de trabajo más flexibles. Entonces tienen una relación completamente distinta con sus clientes. Y aquí SB Group ha cambiado la forma en que trabajas y accedes a los restaurantes en las empresas. Ha aumentado la ocupación en 35%. Todas esas iniciativas tienen cosas en común. Les falta la tecnología para aumentar y mejorar su relación con los consumidores. Ahí entramos nosotros. Nosotros somos el vínculo entre vuestros clientes y los espacios. Hace que conectaros con vuestra base de usuarios sea mucho más práctico. ¿Cómo? Proveemos nuestros clientes con un app, con un sitio web, podéis construirlo con vuestra propia identidad y después agregamos todas las cosas que necesitáis. Desde la gestión, el inventario, automatización de vuestro inventario, reserva de cuartos, de servicios, y después construimos las posibilidades de networking. Conectamos a todas las personas en estos espacios para poder hacer networking y más negocios. Y claro, integramos los tech stack con la base de usuarios, los puntos de acceso al edificio, para que sea muy fácil de desplegar. Este modelo se basa en varios escenarios, desde una tasa mensual a una integración que necesita más desarrollo, pero lo podemos hacer personalizado para ustedes. Ya estamos trabajando con personas estupendas, desde empresas como CBRE o Forcadell, aquí en Cataluña, y también nos estamos expandiendo en términos de coworking, nodos y también jugadores como parques científicos, que quieren conectarse para mejorar las conexiones entre las personas, servicios y científicos. Estamos yendo mucho más allá del inmobiliario. Estamos entrando en clientes y servicios mucho más grandes. Nuestra visión es que estamos construyendo una red de oportunidades. Eso es lo que queremos hacer con nuestro desk, para que podamos vincularnos y conseguir más del hub, de las conexiones, para tener un impacto más grande social y económico. Nos parece el sitio perfecto para lanzar y consolidar esto. Y queremos ganar este premio después de haber colaborado con todas estas personas, especialmente la zona franca. Va a ser un piloto perfecto para nosotros en estos grandes espacios, conectando los hubs de todos los entornos de Barcelona y de fuera de Barcelona. También estamos aquí al lado. Por favor, podéis hablarnos si queréis más información. Muchas gracias. Todos los startups tienen un stand aquí. Tenéis la oportunidad de hablar con todos ellos hoy o mañana o cuando sea. En todo caso, aquí están. Bueno. Let's go to the next speaker, Javier Fernández. Pay attention. Look at how technology linked to digitalization not only thinks about the start factor. Javier Fernández, please, the floor is yours. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I come to introduce Green Catch. Today, someone was asking, what's the fair like? And I said, well, what catches my eye is that what's incorporated is Proptech or new trends. And that's a good symptom of the Congress. Green catch comes from catch up, which has to do with sustainability and technology. These are the landscapes we see every day. For instance, we see pollution throughout the world. On the previous 27th of September, it was the day for climate change. The new generations are requiring, demanding change. We know that between 30 and 40% of our industry, I'm an architect and I can see how our buildings pollute so much. What would happen if we make our buildings produce? We also have CO2 emissions at a high rate. We are seeing how more and more there's agreements like the Paris agreements, the Kyoto agreement. We also have laws concerning self-production and climate change. What we want to do is provide a customized solution. We have plants with a huge potential concerning 90% of buildings that add value to the developer so that we get sustainable properties from the ground up. We would share more sustainable and community cultures, and the startups would have added value when we implement PACs, sustainable packs. Concerning the market, we have 8.7 million buildings. We have a large potential in Spain and the rest of Europe. I was reading the other day that 75% of buildings in Europe need to be rebuilt energetically. We have 650 buildings so that we can customize, and we also add a technological layer, which is adding through Internet of Things, management and upkeep of the building. I'll give you an example. We have a standard promotion with normative codes. What happens if we added lighting that is more efficient? We can plant some urban orchards. And if we go to the pergola, we could design a green pergola. It could be ecological as well. It could be made out of sustainable wood. It's what I said at the beginning. The buildings can produce. What happens if there's within basements, we can have technologies such as LED lighting agriculture or balconies that can become an urban orchard and don't disturb you day in and day out. So the business model is taking a potential, obtaining, earning income thanks to packs. Concerning marketing, we thank your invitation. For us, this is a very interesting world that I think must change. We are seeing other events in the future. We are starting partnerships with Innova, which has this kind of agricultural technologies that builds green rooftops. We see also Green Catch adds this agricultural value. What about our team? I am the founder. I'm sorry to introduce myself first. And then Sergi, which is an expert in IT. What about our... We have more ecological developers. We have a healthy culture. We revalue real estate by 20%. This is a building that we have been working on. We have put green wood in this building. We have had an A certification, certified wood as well. We have a platform that sends data so that we can monitor and we hope we can have more and more buildings like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Javier. It's very interesting seeing that innovation is everywhere in any opportunity. An opportunity may be a new problem or a new technology that provides a solution for a problem. And last but not least, we have Sergio Lopez from Vivendea. He'll be speaking about how we can aggregate the demand. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank BMP and La Salle Technova because these type of events are very helpful. My name is Sergio Lopez. I'm the CEO and founder of Vivendea.com, an online platform with this mission, reducing the uncertainty of developers by balancing the supply with the needs of buyers. Where do we come from? In 2014, this idea was created, it was launched in 2015. We realized that we needed a success case to validate our proposal. In 2017, we applied to different launches. We gained visibility and credibility, and we had our success case. In January, we opened our first building in Valencia, 24 dwellings, customized dwellings, 100% of sales before the work permit was allowed. And now, what we did offline, you can do it online. We like to say that we do small data. People speak about data, the huge amount of data available, but is it as helpful or not? There are millions of data for 100,000 dwellings. This is a tennis ball. We play tennis with it. With 2 balls, we can have our second hit. With 3, we can juggle, but with too many, it's too complicated. So we should remove everything which is useless and stay with important things. The user, they have names, they have needs. Those are in our platform, and based on that, we improve the user experience. How do we face a purchasing a new building, a new dwelling? You're interested in a plot of land, you obtain big data, you create a product. This decision-making process does not consider the end consumer. And buyers come and buy what we've designed for them. Can we change? No. Our model is based on the user. When the developer comes, we establish a contact with users. They study what users need. Tennis matches played with 2 winners. Users have their dwelling and the developers have a guaranteed sale. We sell this as creating your home from scratch. Number of beds, area, any disability. We're not providing an answer for this type of market. We work in different ways. How to design a dwelling? There's a price based on the location. The price increases based on better qualities, bigger kitchen, bigger balcony, bigger common areas. When they register, they have this. The number of users in that neighborhood and active users. In Valencia, we're waiting for a developer for 180 dwellings for 187 users. We can upload your current development and we can match the buyer's needs with the development which exists right now. As developers, you can download data, reports on users. Your architects can design the houses based on the user's needs. When we have a draft for the project, we show it to the user. They say, I like this part, I don't like this part. So we play tennis and we end up having 2 winners, the users and the developers. Since we have a vision in our Proptech events, we've seen that just by talking to developers, it's not enough. So we need to go hand in hand with someone else. We provide B2B, B2C, B2B2C services. We use blockchain, big data, mortgages, rental plus purchase, interior design, guarantees, many things. Our aim is 100,000 dwellings a year. We want a 3% of market share. So basically, we are aiming at a market generating 10 million euros. Is there any developer here? Okay, you do want a user? I'm just asking you to do something. Build the dwelling they're looking for. Do you give those balls for free? Perfect. It was amazing. We've had 5 startups. Their innovation is well oriented. They understand their value proposal. They understand how technology provides an answer to this. And these proposals, this last one was very interesting. They were both for customers and developers. So our time is over. This was the end of it. So now our jury needs to take a decision. So in half an hour, we'll have them back with our winner. In the meantime, we're going to listen to Europe. Mr. Dirk Pelling, he's going to introduce the Proptech EU competition, which is a European competition linked to funds for startups. He is the founder of European Proptech Alliance. Dirk, tienes la palabra. Gracias. A ver si puedo encontrar mi presentación. Que nadie salga corriendo. Voy a hablar del dinero. Dinero para las startups y dinero que viene de la Comisión Europea en un nuevo programa que empieza en 2020 y que nos va a dar muchas cosas de las que hablar en las próximas semanas. Cuando hablamos de PropTech, siempre intento decir, bueno, ¿de qué estamos hablando? Estamos hablando de innovación, tecnología y modelos de negocios en la cadena de valor. Puede ayudar a los contratistas, arquitectos, promotores, etcétera. Incluye todas las clases de activos. ¿Por qué es una prioridad ahora mismo? Hay muchas tendencias macroeconómicas que ponen presión a la rentabilidad de la eficiencia. Tenemos datos y tecnología que impulsan las nuevas necesidades de los usuarios finales y somos el último gran sector que tiene que ser perturbado de manera innovadora. Tenemos las tendencias macroeconómicas. A veces también hay microeconomía también. Tenemos el desarrollo urbano, cambio climático, el envejecimiento de la población y al mismo tiempo tenemos tecnología que afecta al inmobiliario. Tecnología como puede ser la inteligencia artificial, los modelos BIM, IoT, blockchain. Blockchain es un tema muy importante que se va a cubrir en los programas europeos en los próximos 5 años. ¿Qué impulsa todo esto? 2 cosas principales, la experiencia del usuario y la eficiencia. Estas son las 2 principales impulsores de la innovación y se puede ver en las 4 personas que han estado hablando justo antes de mí. Se trata siempre de la eficiencia y la experiencia del usuario. En total, el mercado del PropTech, vemos que hay 5 segmentos que cubren toda la cadena de valor. Financiación, diseño y construcción, mercado y otras 2 más. He puesto ejemplos de buenas empresas que han sido startups o startups que han crecido y que están teniendo mucho éxito en estos momentos. Podría hablar de las tendencias generales, pero sería demasiado detalle. En estos momentos, en 2019, tenemos 36 unicornios de PropTech y al mismo tiempo tenemos grandes empresas que quieren entrar o que están entrando en el real estate, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, pero podría decir algunas otras. Y al mismo tiempo, y esto lo vamos a ver en un momento, hay grandes problemas en Europa. Un gran problema que viene de la parte de la inversión. Porque si hoy solo somos estas personas que estamos aquí y solo somos nosotros aquí, esto ya es un problema significativo. No tenemos suficientes inversores en Europa. Vamos a decir que tenemos demasiada aversión al riesgo. Si no, esta sala estaría llena de inversores escuchando a las 4 personas que ha presentado antes de mí. ¿Qué está pasando y por qué Proptech ahora? 185.000 millones se van a desplegar en el Proptech antes de 2025. Se puede ver aquí, muchas personas me dicen, ¿por qué cae después de 2023? Eso es porque el Proptech ahora es lo que era el FinTech hace 5 años. Si miramos, y esto es una diapositiva importante, si miramos esto, vemos que la mayor parte de las startups de Proptech están infrafinanciadas. Están en fase de validación. Estamos en la fase realmente inicial. Si miramos el perfil de los inversores, vemos los perfiles de 2018. Vemos que el 26% son aceleradores y el 56% o incluso más es industria cerrada. El Venture Capital. Los Venture Capital especializados, que son los que pueden tener el mayor impacto porque están alineados con las personas que están financiados, solo representan casi el 8%. Esto es un gran problema. Y esto es Europa. Porque si miramos lo que está pasando en otros lugares, es muy distinto. En 2005 es una empresa de Luxemburgo. Miren todas las demás que están ahí, están creciendo, creciendo y después se van de Europa. ¿Por qué? Porque no hay suficiente capital. Lo que estoy intentando hacer, lo que estamos haciendo justo ahora, empezamos el año pasado, es que financie la European Proptech Alliance. En todos los países hay una asociación nacional que está ayudando a los Proptech. En Bélgica, en España, en Holanda, en Alemania. Y no había un paraguas europeo. Igual que el mercado en Europa estaba fragmentado, todo el mundo estaba haciendo su propia cosa. Entonces yo creé este paraguas, hablé con la Comisión Europea, nos dieron su apoyo moral, que no financiero, y están tras esto. Mi primera iniciativa fue organizar unos premios a escala europea, apoyados por la Comisión Europea, el Comité de las Regiones y el presidente del Parlamento Europeo. ¿Qué hacemos? Organizamos este concurso para todas las startups en Proptech en Europa. ¿Saben cuántas startups hay en Europa? 2.960. Perdón, 16. En esta alianza europea, ¿qué hacemos? Tenemos un proceso muy estricto. 50 jueces vienen de todas partes de Europa. Hacemos pitch en directo. Y después hay una final que se celebra en Francia, en París, como ha pasado este año. Esta alianza, por cierto, pueden consultar la página web, tiene bastante información. ¿Qué es? Es una alianza sin ánimo de lucro. Tenemos varias cosas. En primer lugar, presentamos las herramientas necesarias para que la Comisión Europea tome decisiones sobre financiación, pero también legislación, programas. Hay muchos programas. También estructuramos la colaboración en innovación abierta a nivel comunitario y también facilitamos financiación comunitaria para las startups de Proptech en toda Europa. Vendemos 23 redes nacionales, es un gran poder. Y esto me lleva a hacer esto. Esto es lo que hago para una de mis empresas. Hacemos minería de datos. Estamos utilizando inteligencia artificial para saber dónde están las necesidades de las startups. En estos momentos sé casi todo lo que hay que saber de estas 2.916 startups y scale-ups en Europa. Y esto es una herramienta muy potente para ir a la comisión y decir necesitamos ayudar a todas estas personas. Así que unimos a las startups con los corporates. Empezamos en Polonia, por ejemplo, y combinamos una startup ahí con una empresa de España que está buscando una solución concreta. También lo hacemos en otros campos, como expliqué ayer. Después doy acceso a financiación de la Comisión Europea. Hay más de 200 programas distintos de la Comisión Europea para ayudar a las startups y a las scale-ups. Tenemos distintos instrumentos, Enterprise Network, for Innovation, tenemos muchos. Y yo estoy en el medio y al final solo startups, scale-ups en Proptech han tenido éxito en el Horizonte 2021 de la Comisión Europea y realmente se trata de una cantidad muy grande. Proptech era el 0,02% del presupuesto total que fue a las startups y scale-ups. Y esto es ridículo si se compara con el fintech. Y en Proptech estamos donde estábamos en el fintech hace 7 años. Tenemos un equipo de consultoría interno para que estas personas lleguen al instrumento. El instrumento SME. Es un programa de 25.000 millones para dar financiación a startups en general. Lleva existiendo 4 años, es muy competitivo. Llega hasta los 2.500 millones de euros. Proporciona dinero, apoyo, orientación y nadie en Proptech lo está utilizando, así que lo voy a cambiar. Hemos abierto un coworking en Bruselas, se llama Proptech House Coworking. Tenemos un equipo de 30 personas. Finover Foundation tienen todas las startups de Proptech, les dan acceso a financiación, a becarios, a programas de emprendimientos. Que siéntanse libres de venir a conocernos en Bruselas o también pueden llamarnos o enviarnos correos. Esto es lo que hace Proptech House. Somos un punto de referencia para la Comisión Europea. Yo actúo como embajador para Proptech House ante la Comisión Europea y es importante porque ellos tienen muchas cosas que hacer y necesitan tener un único punto de contacto. Bien, volvamos a lo que hacemos. Sensoneo fue el ganador del premio del año pasado de los Proptech Startup Europe Awards. Los pusimos en un consorcio con grandes empresas. Trabajan en la gestión de residuos. Gracias a lo que podemos hacer por ellos, gracias a lo que hicimos, ahora están entrando en el juego de las grandes empresas y tenemos muchas personas a las que estamos ayudando de esta manera. Otro ejemplo de lo que hacemos, hemos aunado para solucionar muchos problemas que las startups y scale-ups en Proptech están teniendo en muchos países europeos. Esto es un informe que voy a presentar en la Comisión Europea. Voy a decir, estos son los 10 problemas que tienen. Dinero, por supuesto, pero también legislación y muchas otras cosas que nos frenan a la hora de tener un buen rendimiento. Lo voy a presentar a finales de este mes a la Comisión Europea y ellos van a adoptar medidas y legislación para ayudar. Vamos a la parte más importante de lo que quiero decirles. La financiación, la parte de la financiación. Si analizamos Europa en comparación con Estados Unidos, la actividad emprendedora total, se ve la diferencia entre Francia, a la izquierda, y países como Letonia, Lituania, que son muy activos. El emprendimiento significa donde tenemos mayor número de startups, scale-ups y profesionales independientes. ¿Por qué estoy mostrándoles esto? Por esta diapositiva. Hay una correlación clara entre el crecimiento que se realiza en un país o en un continente y la actividad emprendedora total que se tiene. Y esta relación se puede ver aquí, es lo importante que es. Si en esa escala a la izquierda tenemos los porcentajes de actividad de emprendimiento, y esto aquí hay 3 años, y vemos cómo sube. Y vemos que en la Unión Europea el 66% del crecimiento se origina de scale-ups y nuevas iniciativas, es decir, actividad emprendedora. Eso es lo que crea el crecimiento y no las grandes empresas que avanzan a una escala menor. Vamos a comparar Europa y Estados Unidos. ¿Por qué? Porque se ve que hay muchas empresas en Europa que están y crecen mucho, pero también hay más empresas que fracasan en Estados Unidos. La ventaja de todo esto es, por supuesto, que todos los unicornios vienen de Estados Unidos. porque ahí hay mucha más innovación. Ahí se está vertiendo mucho más dinero en estas startups y scale-ups. Podemos identificar dos brechas de equity en Europa. La primera es que después de los amigos y familia, tenemos la segunda brecha, que es la más grande, la escala, que es el momento en cuando para crecer se necesitan 10, 20, 25 millones de euros. Es el problema en Europa. Miremos esto. Veamos las diferencias entre Europa y Estados Unidos. Los millones que se están invirtiendo. Comparación entre la seed stage es 10 veces la cantidad en Estados Unidos en comparación con Europa. En la siguiente, early stage, es 9 veces. Después, 21 veces. Entonces, lo estamos haciendo muy, muy mal en Europa. En Estados Unidos es 21 veces mejor que nosotros, porque nosotros no estamos movilizando suficiente dinero para nuestras startups y scale-ups. Y muchos gobiernos en Europa están intentando abordar este problema, que es fácil. Tenemos muchas cosas con la Comisión Europea, tienen que hacer algo sobre esto, pero al final se van. ¿Qué vamos a hacer ahora? Es la última parte de mi presentación. Es el programa Escalar, que es muy importante para los inversores. El año que viene hay que hacer un foro de inversores, como hice en Bélgica el año pasado. ¿Por qué? Porque ahí tendrás las personas con el dinero. Ellos van a escuchar y van a ver lo que está pasando aquí. Sí. Entonces el programa Escalar, como esta palabra española, es un instrumento financiero específico diseñado para ayudar a las startups y scale-ups en toda Europa. Es nuevo, completamente nuevo, para activar a los inversores. Se centra en las scale-ups. Está supervisado por el Fondo de Inversión Europeo y gestionado por el Banco de Inversiones, el Banco Europeo de Inversiones. Es completamente nuevo en el sentido de que vamos a asignar miles de millones a este programa. Es un programa enorme, es el más grande que se ha hecho hasta el momento. Aquí se ve toda la cantidad de dinero que se va a asignar. ¿Cómo funciona? Bien, si hay un fondo de pensiones con aversión al riesgo, que pone 10 millones en una startup Proptech para llegar a Scale-up, la Comisión Europea va a garantizar el 50% de lo que estén invirtiendo. Y de esta forma, la Comisión Europea va a activar lo que llaman el dinero durmiente, porque en muchos países no es posible que los fondos de pensiones inviertan en actividades arriesgadas, como sería una startup o un scale-up. Entonces, ¿qué dice la Comisión? Dice, una scale-up, y por cierto, tengo que decir algo, muchas startups fracasan, realmente muchas, el 86%. Pero las scale-ups en Europa, solo el 29% fracasan. Y este es el motivo por el que la Comisión ha dicho, queremos correr grandes riesgos al financiar. Y estamos hablando de dar dinero, capital a las scale-ups. El Fondo de Pensiones pone 10 millones y la Comisión Europea dice, vamos a garantizar el 50% de esta cantidad si la scale-up fracasa. Vamos a imaginar, como inversores privados, si eres un inversor privado y quieres invertir en una scale-up y la scale-up necesita 10 millones de euros, vamos a decir 25, que es un presupuesto más bonito. 25 millones, dices, bueno, no vamos a hacer esto solos, pero entonces puedes hablar con nosotros en Proptech House para que mediemos con las instituciones europeas. Les vamos a decir, esto es un buen proyecto, después de un proceso de due diligence, por supuesto. ¿Por qué no activamos Escalar en esta ronda de financiación? Y como inversor privado dices, bien, si yo pongo 10 millones, el fondo de pensiones también va a poner 10 millones. Ya tengo mis 20 o mis 25 millones que me gustaría invertir en esta scale-up. Estamos hablando siempre de inversores alineados, no venture capital o otras cosas. Estamos hablando de realmente fondos centrados en PropTech. Una vez que se ha hecho esto y que ha sido aceptado, después vamos al Banco Europeo de Inversiones para su informe de due diligence, porque, por supuesto, si estás pidiendo mucho dinero, hay que tener un control. Así tiene que ser el balance. Realmente estamos hablando de capital privado y dinero público que se está invirtiendo. Es algo inteligente por parte de la Comisión, porque ellos no están poniendo su propio dinero. Lo están facilitando y están diciendo a otros que inviertan y les dan esta garantía del 50%. Es un proceso complicado después, debo ser sincero, pero esto es normal, porque estamos hablando de muchísimo dinero. El piloto de y estamos en fase de piloto con la European Proptech Alliance, el piloto ya tiene un presupuesto de 500 millones de euros. Y el presupuesto final son cientos de miles de millones, que es lo que se va a liberar para hacer esto. Antes de responder a sus preguntas, algo muy extraño que descubrimos. Analizamos los datos del Fondo Europeo de Inversiones. Estos fondos de inversiones europeos ya han invertido directamente o indirectamente en 300, casi 400 fondos de venture capital en toda Europa. Fondos europeos. Estoy hablando siempre de inversiones europeas, no de fuera de Europa. ¿Y qué muestra esto? Muestra que los principales 25 han tenido crecimiento, rentabilidades de 2 dígitos, pero no hay diferencia significativa entre la primera vez y los que van en serie. Si empiezas un nuevo fondo, no piensas que vas a tener más dificultades o que no vas a hacerlo igual de bien que la persona que ya tiene varios fondos. Realmente es estadístico y es muy extraño. No hay diferencias significativas entre la primera vez y los fondos que van en serie. ¿Cuál es el motivo que existe detrás de ello? Y voy a cerrar con esto. Es el acceso. Es el acceso. Puede que sea la primera vez en la que invertimos. Puede ser la primera vez que creamos un fondo de inversión en Proptech. No se necesita una experiencia de 50 años. Lo que se necesita es acceso a los datos. Se necesita acceso a las empresas de Proptech. Y si hoy somos pocas personas en esta sala, esto quiere decir que muchos de los inversores no tienen ni idea de lo que está pasando en Proptech, no saben cómo invertir en ello. Y entonces dicen, bueno, voy a esperar hasta que vea que me llega alguna buena empresa y quizá a lo mejor algo con esto. Y volviendo a lo que decía Anthony esta mañana Anthony Slambers dijo algo muy importante. Dijo que no tienen opción, los inversores y las empresas no tienen la opción de esperar. Si no se suben al tren, no voy a decir que se van a quedar sin negocio, pero va a tener problemas. Se trata del acceso y este acceso es exactamente lo que estamos dando a los inversores y a la Comisión Europea. Les estamos dando información sobre un mercado. Les estamos diciendo quiénes son las buenas empresas en las que debemos invertir, porque obviamente no todo el mundo va a recibir 25 millones de euros o incluso más para invertir. Así que necesitamos tener un buen proceso de identificación. Necesitamos las redes nacionales de Proptech, tienen que participar, bueno, es el caso, necesitamos centrarnos en el sector y necesitamos apalancar la red para su crecimiento. Como último comentario, Proptech House está ayudando a todas las asociaciones nacionales a crecer y a dar un mejor servicio a sus startups de Proptech para dar acceso a los fondos europeos entre cientos de miles de euros y 2,5 millones de euros les estamos ayudando. Y esto les da acceso a través de las embajadas a la Comisión Europea y nos permite realizar estudios no solo para nosotros mismos, sino para nuestros miembros. Si alguna gran empresa, una gran corporación como la suya, señor Piqué, quiere tener datos, o decir, bueno, quiero información de lo que está pasando en este campo en Proptech, porque tenemos 5 categorías en Proptech, lo podemos hacer este estudio. Y esto, en mi opinión, es muy importante. Europa necesita mejorar en Proptech. Estamos justo al principio, este es el momento de hacerlo. Muchas gracias.
Fantastic, Dirk. Thank you so much for introducing Proptech competition for the first time in Europe. BNP has been the first session in Europe in which this competition has been introduced. This isn't not only an accelerator, it's a hub so that all these runners-up may actively participate in this competition, especially get this funding that Dirk was talking about. The jury has gathered. They participate in La Salle in Barcelona meeting point to decide. It has been difficult. As you know, Tuesday evening, we awarded the Scale Lab Award. And after the acceleration process, it is a startup that most grew. Mayordomo won the award. And we are going to award the startup this year. I'll ask 2 key people to come here with me. Blanca Navarro, CEO. Oh, this happens with fusion. So, Beda Navarro and Blanca Solerre. You're in the same corner of my mind. Blanca Zuriguez, CEO of Barcelona Meeting Point, as well as the Free Zone Consortium, and Pedro Navarro, special delegate of the Free Zone government and also president of Barcelona Meeting Point. You know that every award is a motive for celebration, but these are the Oscars of PropTech. And for this, we need Pedro Almodovar and Penelope Cruz stand-ins to open the envelope and to give the award. So I'll ask Blanca Zuriguez, I'm sorry, to open the envelope to read who deserves the Barcelona Startup Award 2019. Truly, this has been fun. I don't mind you calling me Navarro. The award for the best BNP Startup 2019 is for DICE. You can speak in French, English, whatever you want. The rest of the runners-up still have an award, which is participating in the accelerator in an active way. And we'll ask the rest of the startups to come. Orde, Green Catch, and Vivienda to take a family portrait with all of the awards. Great. I'd like to remind you that you have a networking meeting with the investors present here at BNP to invest in your startup. Thank you very much and see you next year.